Hello, let's start learning. Yeah, I customized that countdown thing a bit. So usually just say like, let's do it. And I just think that I could add some personal touch in it because we are all learning Python, learning data science. So I would add that little bit there to make it more customized thing, I think. So hello, welcome to the Legend of Data. Monday, to kickstart the week, we would have this weekly tutorial to teach things about data science and using Python. So this week we'll continue the topic last week is data visualization, and we would actually look deeper into Matplotlib and try to do some customization with Matplotlib, and also kind of explain what is a subplot, what is the axes, and things like that. So for the people who don't know me, I will just do a quick introduction. I'm Chuck, and I love open source. I work in open source projects. I work for Terminus DB full time. It's a graph database, so it's very interesting. And of course, it can also do Git stuff, and it's open source. It's free, and will be open source forever. So that's great. I love open source. Another thing, I organize a lot of conference and events. I'm kind of quite busy this year because I help organize a lot of online events. So surprise, surprise, I think I will have more time. That's why I start doing streaming. But I actually get busier than ever, which is great. EuroPython is coming up next month, and it's like your conference, but you can be attending at your comfort at home. There will be like talks that actually like would be even like more talks than before in one day. It would be like a few days of talk, and then we will have the sprints, and totally recommend going to the sprints. You will learn a lot, and hopefully we'll have some kind of data science related project there as well. So you can learn not just like Python, but also some internals of the tools that we are using for our daily job. And PyJavaSConf also like it's an online conference. It will be an online conference forever because that's the concept to start with. But now every conference is going online, so it's nothing special anymore. So anyway, last week, what we have done is that we have looked at a lot of different tools that you can do in data analyzation, data like visualization that you can have show how your data look like, what story your data want to tell, and how to help you in telling that story. So so there are lots of tools. I won't repeat anymore. If you're interested, the video is actually available on Twitch or YouTube or wherever the platform that you found this video, maybe DevTool. Yeah, it's there. And also, if you can't find it, you can always find it on my website. So it's chuck.dev. Um, so yeah, I talk about different tools, and I hope now you're like all very interested to learn all these tools. Also last time we give a little bit of introduction of Matplotlib, so it's kind of like I would say it's a granddaddy of all the plotting tools because a lot of tools that I introduced last week actually is using Matplotlib at the back end. So understanding how Matplotlib work and how to use it actually is good, even though it may not be the best tool for every single task. That's why we will cover different tools that for some tasks you may want to use a different tools that make it easier to do what you want to achieve. But learning the basics is always something useful in the long run. And for interesting statement that they have made, like they're not supporting Python 2 anymore. So yeah, I just found it interesting. Okay, so the if you have grabbed the slice, it actually doesn't have much. This is basically the only slice now that is the most important slice in this in today's tutorial. Is I'm going to explain to you the concept of what is an axis. So after that, we'll just go jump into the demonstration. We'll just jump into coding. So not many slides today. So it depends. Sometimes there are more concept stuff. So sometimes there's more coding stuff. So not every week there will be a lot of slides that is helpful and useful. But this is the most important slides for today. So you can see I have grabbed like online. I think this is from a Stack Overflow page that I grabbed this example plot that's actually not showing anything because it's just a bunch of random number and it's in a line plot, so it doesn't make any sense. So you can see that this plot actually is generated by Matplotlib, and it got 4 subplot here. Um, so a lot of people, they'll be like, they don't like Matplotlib because a lot of the time, to really show something meaningful, is that you can compare different plots. And for doing that, you have to mix a plot. And Matplotlib, people misunderstand that it's like, oh, it's so difficult to make a subplot in Matplotlib. I don't understand why, how to do it. Like, they may go to the documentation of Matplotlib and find some example there, try to customize it. That's basically usually what I would do. But I think understanding like the concept of making a subplot and how different objects on your Matplotlib canvas is called is actually make you easier to navigate through those documentation and tutorial as well. So Matplotlib is basically quite flexible. It's kind of like a blank canvas. As long as you understand how the object in Matplotlib is called and how they work together, then it's actually easier. Another tool that could help you to make subplot easier is Seaborn. I will cover that maybe next time or the week after next, so it depends. I think maybe the week after next because I haven't talked about pandas. But maybe we can cover using pandas with Matplotlib today. We'll see. I haven't prepared for that, but it depends on the time. And ask questions if you don't understand. I always encourage people to ask questions in the chat. Sometimes I forgot to mention it, but please feel free to even just say hi or shout at me if I did something wrong. That's okay. I love seeing people reacting to me rather than me just talking to a computer. So okay, so first of all, there's these whole thing, the whole kind of things that you generate with a Matplotlib is called a figure. So in a figure, you can see that like now we have like 4 support in a figure. So that's that's why like some people would be like, oh, if they think that each of these support is a figure, then that's wrong because when you customize things, then you won't find a legend or a title or a label that is actually sitting in the figure. It's not, because the figure is like the whole canvas itself. So um is you there are only a few things that you will do it in a figures level. For example, you want to show the whole figure, so you do a show, and that's it. Like, that isn't much. Or you actually call like a support to add subplot to kind of break it down into different subplot arrangements. So but actually the figure is the whole thing. So this is the first thing that I want to show. Second thing, so for each of these plot is actually called axes. So I don't know why it's called axis. So it's not axis. So axis is the x and y axis. So it's axes. There may be a reason behind. Maybe like that's how it called in MATLAB. I don't know. So for each of these is an X. So when you want to customize it, then like for example for each of these subplot, if you want to have a title for each of them, so it'll be a title for these axes. So it's not a title for a figure because otherwise it would be like for the whole thing. So it doesn't make sense and people will give up and like be angry with Matplotlib. No, it's not. And also you know all these like x and y axis, the plot itself is sitting in the axis. So these are living. These are part of the axis object. So now it's just like there's two things here. There's the figure object and axis object. And so I always talk about subplot. So actually a subplot is actually an arrangement here. Um, so it's more natural to call these like little axes that actually a subplot of the whole figure. But there are also method that's called subplot, but the object itself is called axis. It's not called subplot. And usually we use the word subplot in a more kind of not like pointing to that object, not like saying that object. We call it axis object, but for each plot is a subplot. And we say like subplot arrangement for this example here is 2 by 2. Actually, you can have other arrangements. We would try to experiment some of them today. So without further ado, let's get in to see it in action. So I've created a Jupyter notebook here that we're gonna use the Pokemon data again. So if I remember, oh, but before that, of course, we have to import everything. So import pandas spd import matplotlib dot py plot as plt, and also have that magic So Matplotlib inline. Okay. So that's the thing that we need for today. Let me actually add another here. So okay, so what we're gonna do now is that we would read the data. So we have the Pokemon df would be pd dot read csv. So I think we did it last time. So you know what? I gotta cheat a little bit because I remember there's some like custom setting last time that see if I can remember. I don't think I can remember. Yeah, I'll just like copy this because yeah, there's some like customization that we've made that I don't want to like explain again. So I'm just gonna copy this. Yeah. So now if I maybe do a Pokemon df dot head, then I will see that we have a Pokemon df that is loaded in. So let's think about what plot we want to make. Actually, let's see. For example, what I want to do is that maybe I want to do a um, maybe I want to plot. So yeah, I haven't think about that, so I'm doing it live. So do you have any ideas? What do you want to know? Maybe we want to know the speed of the Pokemon. Yeah, let's see the distribution of the speed of the Pokemon. How about that? So, so let's do a um, a histogram. So I have already have like a framework here. So you can see that I call PRT.figure. So I will generate a new figure, and this figure, I hope it's big enough for you to see. Yeah. So this figure is actually um, yeah. Oops! I just realized that my computer that I monitor the chat is dying. So let me switch to the phone so I can actually see whether there's something in the chat because it dies on me, the laptop that I'm monitoring. So let me see if I can see. Yep. Okay. So yep. Now I can see the chat in with my phone. So sorry about that. Something usually like yeah. Sometimes things happened. And hello. Yes. Hello. Welcome. Noki. Noki Bay Blues. Yes. Taking specific math classes. Oh, okay. So if you're interested, so Noki, if you're interested in data science and yeah, I think it depends because yeah, a lot of like data science stuff actually like is related to statistic, and if you do machine learning, also like some linear algebra. So definitely math is a very important part in data science other than coding. So if you already have some coding experience in Python or in other languages, so I think coding part may not be the biggest challenge for you to maybe start to work as a data scientist or work in the field of data science. So yeah, some mathematical background is needed. So it really depends on how much or how much you remember during the school time. And definitely, if you can find some math classes, that's help. But there are a lot of ways to learn how to do data science. There are online materials that's actually free. But if you want to take a course, definitely that's fine. I recommend a Coursera. I haven't really studied on Coursera for a few years now, but when I started, I studied Coursera, and um, and there are actually data science courses that by a university. I forgot which one. I think it's John Hopkins University. They do have a data science course, but that one was in R. But the way they explain the mathematics is quite good, that they kind of just break things down and it's easy to understand. So yeah, like a good data science course should include mathematics you know that would be helpful for you to do that. So yeah, definitely. um, so okay, let's go back to our plotting. So we want to create a figure that we can actually change the size of it as well. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Welcome. But I think yeah, if other other people have other recommendation, please feel free to to put in the chat, because like I said, I haven't studied like on Coursera for a few years, so I don't know how it is right now. So because like things change so quickly, like in coding and in in programming, in software, and in data science as well. Um, so if other people have other recommendation, please shout. um, Also, it depends on like the way that like people learn. Some people learn by reading, some people learn by watching videos, so it really depends. So explore, yeah, and learn. That's great. Okay, so a figure size, well, I say that it's like 10 8, so it's like, so it's kind of like inches or something like that. So it's like usually I only care about aspect ratio, so it's like rather I want it to be a portrait uh, canvas, the figure, or I want a square, or I want like a landscape kind of uh, plot. So for this one, I would just go with like 10H for now. That's the usually my favorite setting, but we could change that afterwards, so that's okay. So let's plot the speed as a histogram to see how the speed of the Pokemon is distributed. So let's do a PRT.hist, and let's put in the. Actually, I kind of like forgot how to. Um, so yeah, I can't remember like everything in Matplotlib. There's so many things, so that's impossible to remember it. So I always go back to the documentation. I want to make it bigger so you can maybe, hopefully, you can see something. So you put in the X and then put in the bin. So what I gotta do is that I gotta put in. Oops. Oh wow. I'm losing, like getting lost from all the tabs. Okay. So I gotta put in this this series here. So I could. What I could do is that I could do a Pokemon DF, and then I could put in the speed there, and the bin. I don't know actually. Like I should actually do a describe. So remember last time we have Pokemon. Like I just want to have a look at how actually this thing is before I make the decision. So describe. Oh, missing an S there. Describe. Yeah. So it is the mean is 68 standard deviation. So I guess I would have a bin of 5. I hope that's fine. If this looks too ugly, I would just change it. It's alright. I just like want to have an idea of like how these things, whether it would be like super crazily big, or how big it would be, the mean and the max. Okay, so let's see. Let's look at the documentation. And range is fine. I'll just stay with what they have. And vertical. I think, yeah. Let's stay with the default and see how it looks like. Let's try that. Okay. So and okay. So the next line that I've already put it in there before. So AX is is actually so this is interesting. So what is GCA? So GCA is actually get current axis. So it's just like, 'cause you have just plot something, but you have never actually tell Matplotlib what this is putting in. So you never tell Matplotlib that you gotta put this in a specific axis. So what Matplotlib gonna do, because you just call a PRT.hist, so it's kind of like a generic function. So it's almost like a shortcut that people could just you know, if you just like, if you don't do any subplot, if you just plot one plot, then you don't have to worry too much, and then you just call prt.hist, and then when you do that, so Matplotlib will be like, oh, you haven't assigned any axes or anything to me, so I would just create one for you. But now, because you want to do some customization, you want to get back, so okay, what is these axes, like what is the reference to this axis, so I can use to refer to it when I do customization. So that's why this GCA method come in. Is that when you call the GCA, so it will know that, oh, so it's refer back to the last axis that I have done something, which is this I do this histogram, it create an axis for me, and now if you call GCA, then it will return back that axis for me. So now I have something to reference to, so I can be like, tell Matplotlib that, oh, I want to customize this histogram that I've just plot, and now I want to customize it. Okay, so you grab this back, and I store this reference to this object in AX. Okay, so whenever I do AX dot something, that means that I'm changing the look of this histogram that I've just created. Okay, so yeah, it's a bit of a funny concept. It's when I started, I found it quite strange. It's yeah, because it's designed to kind of work similar to MATLAB, so it's not very Python. Like if you're you're coding in Python for a while, if you're a Python developer, you found this really strange. Like, why do you do this? Like, why you kind of like going backward and stuff? You don't return it when you create it, and yeah, actually, I don't know whether it would create return an axis. Let me check. So it may not, but it may. But if you kind of like, because you have done other stuff, and then you kind of like you want to get back to the axis, you can just call it GCA. Yeah, it didn't it didn't return the axis for you. So that's very strange. Like if I'm designing this, I may want to have a different approach, but I'm not, and they designed to work like MATLAB. So this is how MATLAB work, and yeah, and that's why people found it weird. But I think once you get the hold of the idea, then you kind of like, okay, I know how to make it work. So for this axis, so now I can customize it. I can set the label of it. So the X label, so it's the the X axis. Then I want to put down the label there. So I would put in the speed. Oh, speed of the Pokemon, or speed in, I don't know what, like what's that point, like it's a point system in the game, so like it's not like km per hour or something. So it's speed value, you know, or speed points. I don't know. It's funny. It doesn't got a unit for it. So the title would be like histogram of the speed of all Pokemon. Okay. So and also you can put down a legend as well. So this legend, actually, again, I forgot how it works. I'll just do the search on the documentation. So documentation is your best friend. Like, trust me. Yeah, because like Matplotlib got so many different methods. I'm just showing like maybe a tiny bit of it. So yeah, always refer to the documentation. That's my best advice I could give, I would say. So for the legend, and am I looking at the right thing? I'm not looking at the right thing. That's why it should be py plot. Oh no, it's axis dot, yeah, dot legend. Yeah, yeah, this one. So like even like this, you just search for legend. That's why it's best to know how all these objects work, because all these methods, they have the same name, so you want to find the right one for you. So because I'm calling this axis dot legend, so it's actually an axis. Um, so yeah, you can actually just put in a label there, or you can actually put in a set of, like, if you have three different lines, you can do it like in a put in the tuple there. So I only have one, so I don't have to worry. I can just like put in a title there, and or I can just like call it without any argument to see how it looks like. Then I can customize it if I want to. So let's see. Okay, one last thing before I run this code is that the PRT.show uh, is it's not necessary in this case, but it's necessary in the next one. So what it does is that, like, after you have customized everything, then until then you showed it. Otherwise, um, that things unexpected will happen if you have multiple plots. So because whenever you update it, then if you don't call this PRT show, then it's not really showing the update. So it would just basically, uh, yeah, there will be nothing. There will be a blank canvas for you. So yeah, maybe you have like, because all these like plotting things, it won't show if you don't call PRT.show, so basically this one is like your F5 to refresh the web page or something. So like if you have done some web development, like you change something and you want to see the updated, you have to refresh your page to see the update. So it's kind of like that. So because you're doing a lot of things, you customize it, you plot maybe like sometimes you plot multiple stuff on the same axis, then you just want to like PRT.show, just like okay, it's like refreshing this figure for me, just show me like the most updated look after all my customization. So let's run that. Oh, I have made a mistake there. What's that? Oh, the bin that I've set is wrong, so I would just remove it for now. I'll check what's wrong with it afterwards because I haven't read the documentation in detail. Silly me. So yeah, this is like kind of a very rough graph, but you can see that most of the Pokemon is like around from 25 points to 110, I would say. Um, yeah, but this is like I want it to be more detailed. Can you like change the bin for me? Like, why do you angry with me about changing the bin? Let's go back to see. There, hist. Okay, so the bins. Oh, okay, I forgot the S. That's why. Ah, me being silly again. So let's change that. And do you just put in a number or something? Why does it like? Yeah, it could be an integer, so I don't know why it doesn't like it. So let's try it again. Yeah, it's just like my spelling mistake. So yeah, it was 5 in default anyway. So can I make it smaller? Two, no. Oh, it's like how many bins? Oh, okay. So okay, it's a different story then. You see, I'm being careless. So let's look at the range of it as being like. Okay, I would just put it in 10 bins maybe. Yeah. I want it to be more refined. Yeah, you can see that like you can just change it whatever you want. So you can see that this is now really showing something. There's actually almost like a two peak there. That's interesting. So yeah. So you can also like put in. So for histogram, it doesn't like really matter that much because like you can also put in the Y label here. But I think I'll just say count here for now. Yep, now you have a label on the y-axis. You can also change this x-tick. For example, sometimes if it's a categorical plot that you have like the name of the x, like on the x-axis is too big, like too long, then you want to turn it 90 degrees. You can also do that. I just forgot how to do it, and it's not really showing much here in this one. But I think like if you want, it's the yeah, it's like x-ticks. I think it's x-ticks. So yep. So you can actually have a label for the text, and actually you can customize them as well. I just forgot how, but yeah, but I'm sure that you can find it in the example here. So maybe like at the end we try to have a look at some examples and try to do some examples there as well. Is there anything that you definitely want to know? Let me know. Oh, the legend is not showing things. Oh, okay, something wrong there. So let's put in maybe a string. So let's go back to um, right. What's wrong with that? And I should actually, yeah, I would just put in like the example there. Put in a list of string that is called um, Pokemons. Yeah, things like that. Because now it's like now it's like really not showing much because it's only one. But what I can do is that I could actually make this into separate it into like three different generations, let's say, or maybe different types, and then plot it that way. um Let me think. Yeah, if let's say I only plot the speed by type. Yes, absolutely, that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, so for different types, let's say I want to compare like two types, then actually I can also do that. So how I gotta do it is that I have to alter this table a little bit. So So for a histogram, actually you can have more than one histogram there. I'm just like thinking of it. So you can create a filter for those for to this. So you can filter out, let's say, the glass type and the fire type. Okay. So so what you can do is that I just do so yeah so actually I can put in so what I gotta do, I gotta create a grass filter. So it will be actually the Pokemon DF type 1. Oops, it's going crazy. Type 1 would be equals to grass. Okay, so this is the filter for it. Actually, I can put it in bracket as well. That's fine. That's totally uh, correct. And I gotta put a fire filter. What am I doing? Yeah, so we go to fire. Okay, so now I want to show you what happened if I put in a filter here. So you will see that, yeah, it will only have the fire type here, right? So you actually add in a filter in the database. So not database, but like the data frame. So what I gotta do is that, can I hide you, please? Thank you. Okay, so instead of just speed, I gotta just put in the filter here, actually. So it become a new data frame and show me the speed. So that's one of them, and I want to plot another one. So let's go back to the histogram, if I could, please. No, this is not the histogram. Yeah, the histogram. So array of sequence of arrays. So you can put in an array of it. So let's see. So yeah, it's funny that they call it array because it should be a yeah. So let's say I want to try to make it neater. Plot data be an array of it. So I gotta put in the fire type and the grass type. So I just gotta put in a grass filter there. Yep. Right. So now I have like two data that I'm gonna plot. So I gotta put it in here instead. And then can I change the color of it as well? Let me check, because I really want to make a different colors of it. And I think I could. I think I've done it in my other tutorial. Yeah, color be array like of colors. So color would be red and green. So I want to distinct them by how we associate fire and grass. Okay, so color equals to, I want to have a red and green. Okay, so let's try that. Yep, now I have to choose. Ooh, yeah, now I have the two of them, and it's a bit funny because it's not overlapping each other. And yeah, let's remove the bins and see if it would. No, it's still like have side by side. So I want to have like two of them overlapping each other. How can I gotta do it? So you know what? I gotta cheat a little bit because I've done something like that before. So let's see how. Also, you just put free histogram instead. So you know what? I'm just gonna copy this thing. And because yeah, this one it will put it side by side, so you can still compare it, but I would like it to be overlapping. So yeah, and also it only show me like the legend of this one, fire type. So it could be okay. Let me finish this one first. Fire type, and the second one I call it grass type. Okay. Oop. So yeah, so now the legend is like reflecting that one. And but if I want to have them overlapping, then I should do something differently. So let's comment that one out, and I should put it as three different things. So this one should be the fire type, and the color should be red. Okay, and then I put in the glass type as a separate one. So yeah, so now you have like actually three different plots that's overlapping each other. It's still on the same axis, but it's just like three plots overlapping each other. So you can see that plot and axis are actually two different things. So Yeah, so that's why it's different. And here, yeah. Okay, so now you can see that this is similar to what I've done before. I can also put in the bins here. I want it to be more defined. Let's put 15 here. So, and yeah, so you see that yeah, now it's overlapping. So like the two plots are on top of each other, but it's still the same axis. Why? Because when we call the axis.legend, it's still, referring to one legend here, so we don't have multiple legend. And also, the x and the y labels, they are shared, so they still got one x-axis and y-axis on these axes. It's just that they have different plots on top of each other. So if we do what we have done before, that would be, two sets of data coming in together. So by default, they would just put in like side by side. Okay, so that's that. Another thing that you could actually make this narrower if you want to. Yeah, it's like changing the figure size. You can make it a square if you want to. Um, yeah. So I think this one is also like a landscape thing. So maybe let's say I would do an 8 and a 5 maybe. Yeah. So yeah, kind of like that. Okay, so this is a plot with just one thing. You can customize it by calling the axis and changing how it looks. Um, now let's do multiple plots together. So it's getting more exciting. Um, so to break down a figure into multiple subplots, actually you would end up having more than one axis. So the way to do it, uh, actually this is only one way to do it. Like I said before, Matplotlib actually got many, many, many methods, so each method actually gives you something to work with. You can actually code a figure and then say like, oh, add a support for me, add an axis for me. But I'm gonna use PRT quite a lot because um, we love PRT. I don't know. Um, you can actually like go into the details in the documentation to see yeah, how you're gonna do things differently. But I think this is the easiest way to do it. So we got PRT subplot. So what this will return, if we look at the documentation of this, and you will see that, oops, our best friend, oops, what have I done? Yeah, I'm so used to pressing shift enter, so it's opening something else for me. Okay, so let's make it bigger again. Hopefully it's like easier to see. And actually it's not really showing anything because yeah, here, okay, find it. So yeah, so PRT does subplot. So if you see what it returns, it will return an axis for you. And am I using subplot or subplots? I'm using subplots, so not this one. Sorry about that. Let's go back. There's actually two methods. So subplots. Yes, and this is an example. This is not what I want. Yeah, and also because this is super big and it's not easy to navigate as well, the documentation. So that's another drawback of Matplotlib and why people avoid using it. So yeah, you can see that calling subplots would return two things: a figure and an array of axes. So if you have more than one, then you have an array of axes back, and it's actually in the form of tuples. Um, or it's like it's 2 by 2, so it depends. So this actually is a very good example here that yeah, you have like a triple within triple if it's 2 by 2. So basically 1 2 3 4 or 1 2 things like that. So what we're gonna do now is that mm, uh, how about we plot for each generation? We just plot a separate one. How about that? Then we could compare. We do the same thing, compare the fire and the glass type, but let's do one for each generation. So, uh, well, but there'll be 6 of them, right? That's quite a lot. So let me think about whether we could do something else. Maybe legendary versus not legendary. How about that? That's only 2. That's easier because like otherwise you have to do it like 6 times. I don't want to do that. So let's do it like so maybe like I want it side by side or up or down. Maybe side by side. So rows rows would be just one, and then columns I want 2 of them. And I still want a landscape because if it's side by side, then maybe landscape is better. I don't know, we'll see. So now I will have 2 axes that is returned back. So it's like AX. So I would just do what I've done before. So that's why I have that comment there. 0 and 1. Okay, so I have 2 axes that give me back, and then for each one of them, then I could. Okay, how about okay, let's see. Yeah, so if you have done nothing, you would basically just get 2 empty axes there. I think I could make the height lower. So yeah, actually you can adjust the height here as well. No, like this. Yeah. So maybe like that. Yeah. So yeah, basically now there's nothing. It's only the space that you can see. And now let's do a plotting for the first axis. So I gotta do exactly the same thing there, except that I gotta do this for the legendary. So you know what? I gotta create another filter. I gotta create another filter for that. Um, so let's say it's a legendary. So okay, so maybe leg leg filter equals to it's the same thing, but so basically it's just that so it's just legendary or not. So this is legendary. So if it's not legendary, so not leg filter, so it's just like um not, I don't know. No, it's not that. So how can I inverse that? I forgot. Uh, yeah, maybe I could do a not here. I'm not sure. Let's find out. It may not work there. Yeah, I totally forgot like how to invert that thing. And no, you can't do it like that. How do I? Well, you can absolutely do like equals to force there, but I just think it like a bit stupid. But yeah, okay, whatever. Um, yeah, I'm sure that you can invert it by calling a method or something. I just can't remember how it is. Maybe it's a not. I don't know. Yeah, you can't do it like that. Because like not can't be a function name, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that it doesn't work. So okay, let's do it like this for now. And so this one filter out the not legendaries. This one filter out the legendaries. So the legendaries doesn't got a lot. So yeah, so it's only 65. So I would like to see how it looks like. It may look sort of different, but anyway, that's fine. So what I gotta do is that I gonna come here. For the first one, it's gonna be the legendary one. So I gotta do the same thing, right? But this is the non-legendary. So I gotta wait a second. I can't do a PRT. I have to do an axis. So does it do it like the way? I gotta cheat a little bit again because I can't remember how that works. So yeah, so you have to call it axis dot his. So yeah, so instead of PRT, so like I said before, PRT is like kind of self-driving car. Then because you don't have any axis yet, you like or you don't put it as a specific axis because before we only have one, so we don't have a specific axis. Remember here, we just like OPLT the figure, you just adjust the figure size and that's it. You don't create a specific axis, even though there is one that when you call the plot.hist, it will def default create one for you. So you use GCA to grab it back. But now because like when we do the subplot, it returned back the axis for me. So okay, I have cut it in half for you. So the first half is axis 0. That's is well actually it's a reference that's stored in axis 0. So the other is axis 1. So you can refer to it. So actually it's an access object. It's not a reference. It's difficult. Yeah, it's easy to think of it as a reference, but actually it's an axis object. So the first slice of the cake, the first axis, I put it in axis 0. The other one is axis 1. So yeah, so axis. Uh, it's so difficult to say axis. Okay, So this one should be the not ledge filter. It's just getting longer and longer, but that's fine. Okay. Yeah, I could actually create another DF, but I'm just being lazy here. I just take a slice of it. It's fine. It's just this one is super long and like, it's not super nice. But I guess you can just break it, um, if it's easier for you to see. But now it's still okay, so I'll just let it like this. So, and then what I gotta do is that this time I'll have the legend. It will be the same, you know. So yeah, like this, but I want the title of this one to be this one would be the comparing speed of fire and grass type of non-legendary. This is super long. Pokemon. Yeah. Okay. This title is super long. I don't know how it will look like when you put it in there. So maybe I will put a brick line there, so hopefully it won't be poking out. So let's hope that works. Okay, so actually, like now you can see that. Oh, there's an error again. No, what's going on? What's going on? Duplicate axis. Ooh, re-render. Did I re-render it? What happened? I don't know. Oh, yeah, maybe I can't call it again. Is it? Let me check. We do the cheating again. No, I didn't. Why is it that I have um why is it that I have recorded like oh, sad title. Okay. Sorry, maybe this one. Yeah. Nope. It's not. It's still complaining. I didn't re-render it. Why is it complaining about it? Hist. Yeah, it think that I am re-rendering. Let me think why, because it works before. Did it change anything? Axis.his. Let me check the documentation. So this is PRT.his. So axis.his. Oop. Again, press the wrong button. Sorry. Let's see here. Yeah. It should work just the same. I don't know why it doesn't like it. Why is that re-rendering? What have I done wrong? Axis 0 with hist subplot and bins. Yeah, this is super strange. Hmm. Reindex from duplicate. Oh, oh. Is it like? Is it because of this thing? Let me see. Yeah, it may be because of this thing. So here. Yeah, this one is wrong. So and I can't. So if I do this, then oh right, and for this, and then I can't call it again. Oh, I can't have two filters there. So what I gotta do is that I gotta do a and there. So yeah, this one should work. No, oh, sorry. I think it's okay. So it's not NN. Yeah, maybe I remember it like in reverse. So one of them is the like binary operator. The other one is the element-wise comparison. But I forgot which one is which. So it seems that this one works. So I'll just do it like this. So sorry about that. I'm being like a little bit rusty here with pandas already. Jesus, it's just I haven't used it for a while and I now become like rusty. So yeah, now this one should work. Right. So Okay, and yeah, so you can see that this is like for the non-legendary type. It should look slightly different from before. It doesn't look very different from before, is it? Hmm. Oh yeah, there's some difference here. You can see this bin, those are gone. So maybe there isn't that many like grass type legendary Pokemon there, so it looks a bit weird. So let's go ahead and do the other one, and let's do a comparison. See if that works. And so this should be the ledge instead. Okay, so this is the legendary type instead. So let's try it. And yeah, so there isn't many legendary Pokemon, unfortunately, so it looks a bit weird. Um, yeah, if you do generation, then it like maybe looks better. So maybe I can compare generation 1 and generation 2. So let's do that instead. So I'm creating more filters here because I'm lazy. Okay, okay, can you go away? Thank you. Okay, so let's do generation 1 and 2. So gen 1, and it would be Pokemon DF generation. Yeah, generation. I'll just copy and paste because I'm so bad with spelling. I would probably made a mistake there. Equals to generation. I've made it an object, so it should be like 1, like that. Okay. So the other one. Oh, the other one would be Gen 2. Let's say. Um, so yeah. So, okay, so I have to remove this so it doesn't give me a result. Okay, so let's do a Gen 1 versus Gen 2. So that would be better. So Gen 1 here. So type of generation 1. Oh, you see, I've like mistyped it. And this one is Gen 2. And generation 2. And yeah, this one is like at least is a better comparison because it's just that the bin is now too fine. I would just like put it back a little bit because it's more balanced, so it's not that an imbalance. So yeah, this one you can see that the speed of basically the speed of Pokemon is like really like lower compared to Gen 1 and Gen 2 because you see that this is 2 at max. So now the other thing we could do is to make the access and yep, bye Noki. And yeah, so yeah, like now the other thing you could do is to like maybe make the axis, x and y axis the same. So I think that's the last thing we'll do today. So let's make the x and y axis the same. So I want to be like x. Hmm. See if I can find anything useful there. Yeah. So you can have Matplotlib axis. So yeah, axis dot axis. Yes. So you can set the max and mean of it and um, x max and x mean. Yeah. So dot set and so parameters and you can set the x and the y max and y mean here. So what I'm going to do is that I do a um, dot access. I do a y max equals to 4. Is it? It's 4 and yeah, so there's actually less Pokemon in the Gen 2. So yeah, so you can see that actually there's like 4 and the fire type is like super fast here. But it's more or less the same. It's just got like some slow, just one very slow Pokemon in Gen 2 for some reason. But anyway, so why mean? Uh, so I don't have to set it actually because it's gonna be 0 anyway. So let's do this for delete the other one. Oop. Yeah, so now I have made the y-axis the same, so you can see that, or maybe I can make it 5 because now it's super difficult to see. And so you can actually like compare them side by side. So you can see that there's actually less Pokemon, at least the grass type and the fire type in Gen 2, and there's one, like actually one or two, like because it looks like two bins for me. So there's a few slow fire type Pokemon there. I wonder what that is. If you are a Pokemon fan, let me know and like tell me what it is. Basically, what is this slow fire type Pokemon in Gen 2? So I guess you can figure it out if you like go back and search in your in your in your diagram. Actually, let's find it out. We could actually find them. So they're Gen 2, and also they are actually lower than 40. So I just gotta grab this filter here. I have Gen 2 fire type, and so I gotta actually I can show that one here. Let me see this Pokemon. Uh, yeah, so this one. So it should have another filter here. So yeah, so let's do the speed filter. I want to separate them because otherwise it's so difficult to see. Speed filter FRTER equals to the speed is less than 40. So I have this filter and I got to edit here. So now I will see that which are the super slow Pokemon. So there's like two super slow fire type Pokemon. I've answered this question myself. So you can see that we can tell a story with this data here. So what we have done is that um, we have some Pokemon data. We do some, filtering. We look at, how. So this is basically kind of like a simulation of a routine of like doing an analysis. So we have these data. We do some, you can do some cleaning as well if this is, but this is relatively clean data. And I look at how it is, and then I want to inspect the speed of it, do some filtering, and plot it. And it's like, oh yeah, the glass type of the fire type is actually the speed. Is kind of glass type seems to be in general slower than a fire type. So let's have a more detailed look at different generations Pokemon, so you can see that okay, there's actually less glass and fire type in the second generation, and also there are a few very slow fire type Pokemon that's even slower than the grass type. So who are they? And you can find them out. So I want to find like how does those look like. Sorry, I really want to know how they look like. So let's image. Oh my god, this is oh wow. So that's why it is super slow. So yeah, it is a super slow Pokemon. It's almost like a molten magma there. So that's why it's slow and fire. So what about the other one? Yeah. So you can put all these like pictures in your put these pictures in your presentation and tell a story about how you find out the very slow fire type Pokemon. If any of your bosses are interested. Oh, this is like a snail, but it's in on fire. Oh my god, it's so cute. Yeah, so yeah, that's the story of the Pokemon's very slow fire type Pokemon here. So that's the end of the story, and we spent an hour and we figured something out of data, which is great. Um, yeah, so I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week. And next week we will maybe do a little bit of pandas and Matplotlib. So ask me questions so that I know that what I can cover. So you can just send me things on Twitter or just tag it or DevTool if you want to. You can also comment on my video on DevTool or just like message me on DevTool. Um, so I could maybe cover more topic of Matplotlib that you struggle with or you don't understand or what you want to learn more about. But next week we will talk about pandas and Matplotlib using it together and maybe start a little bit of Seaborn. So we'll see. So I'll see you next week. Bye.